Hi, this is another rope tutorial. Today I talk about anchor knots. I noticed that in my last two tutorials about no cinches, I started with you can do the anchor knot of your choice. But what is an anchor knot? And why? What would be good reasons to choose this or that anchor knot? Well, it's a typical pattern in bondage that you first tie, for instance, a wrist or both wrists or one foot, and then you have the rope, and you continue tying with that, and you don't make that knots really. It's more like a wraparound rope, and in the end you stick it in somewhere. So it's a typical pattern that the anchor knot is actually the only real knot that you do in a bondage. It's not that you have to do it like that, but most people I know do it like that most of the time. So it's quite typical for most people. It seems to make sense. If you can't imagine what I'm talking about, it's like in a TK, what you do first is you put the arms of the bunny on the back, you tie the wrists together, you make an anchor knot. So this is the point that I'm talking about. And then you wrap the ropes around the bunny, and in the end you stick it in. Okay, there are some manta hitches, but the anchor knot is the only real knot that you're doing. I talk about three knots that are quite common: the reef knot, the somerville bowline, and the fast bowline. So let's get started with the reef knot. Technically it looks like this. It has many names because I think it's very, many people know it. It's a very common knot in all kinds of things. Like almost everybody, when they make a knot, they make something like this. I think tying shoelaces is also a reef knot. Besides that, the ends don't look out, but they have this. That's quite common. And also in bondage, that's the anchor knot that most people start with. There are several ways to do it. I only do one way now to not make the whole thing more complicated than it already is. So let's get practical. So imagine these are the wrists of your bunny. Go like this. And a second time. And there you have a reef knot. The second knot I want to show is the somerville bowline. Technically it looks like this. So it's very different. It is a loop in a loop. And you can tie it like this. First, you create one loop with this one. You go through the loop with your bite, around the whole wrist tie and through the loop again, and then tighten it. So that's what it looks like. And then there's the third knot I want to talk about, the fast bowline. Okay, this looks a bit confusing maybe. So here, this would be your bite. The wrist tie goes through this end, and this is the end that you continue tying with. Like with this end you will do your whole bondage. And no, like that. You make not a round loop, but like this, which is actually in your picture the orange one. And with your bite, you go around it, around your wrist tie, through this loop thing, and tighten it like this. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of these knots? First of all, I have to say that my most experiences I have with this rope. So, most things, well, I have very little experience, so this is jute. I have very little experience with plastic rope, and I also have some experience with hemp rope. Well, so let's start with the reef knot. The cool thing about the reef knot is that you can have load on it immediately. When you tie it, let's undo it, have a look again. So, if you are here, you already have both ends of the rope in your hand and you are under control at this moment. So, if you need this or want this for technical or psychological reasons, for instance, if you want to show clearly that you're in control now, it makes sense to use this knot. I think actually that even if it has some disadvantages, this is the reason why it is used in Osada ryo. And there might be technical reasons, like when you have to have load on the rope immediately. Then it also makes sense to make this knot. Okay, let's do it again. The somerville bowline, well, in the construction, is actually brilliant. I'll show again the picture. Having a loop in a loop means that on each rope, when you pull on it, like when you put more load on it, that means that the knot tightens. This is something, this is a disadvantage of the reef knot. It's a possible disadvantage of the reef knot. In a reef knot you have to tighten really tight. And if your rope is too slippery, and this is quite, well, it's not slippery like a plastic rope, but well, it's quite hard and stable, and so this is likely to happen. So this is a flipped reef knot, and this can never happen in a somerville bowline. That's the reason why if you need the most safety, then you would do this knot. Like when it's absolutely necessary, you will use this knot. The disadvantage is that while tying it, I undo it again and do it again. Unlike the reef knot, you see what I'm doing here. It's like you have this in your fingers, and if the bunny wants to run away, this is a very good time. It takes time. Well, you can do it faster than what I did now, but the disadvantage is that it's not so sexy while tying. But it's the better knot. It's super stable. As I said, the disadvantage is that you cannot have load on the rope immediately. it takes you these extra 2-3 seconds, even if you practice it. So the fast bowline is actually a very, very good compromise. It is quicker to tie than a bowline, than a somerville bowline, but it also cannot flip. So once you have it, if you pull here, which is the place where it would get pulled, this thing tightens, and so it never can flip. I'll show the graphic again. So, yes. The disadvantage is that if you have plastic ropes, don't use it. That's actually the only disadvantage. If you use plastic rope, don't use it because there's not enough friction in it. It's not. If you use plastic ropes, just don't use it. It's not safe for plastic ropes. For jute ropes and for hemp ropes, it's perfectly fine. So that's it. Thanks for your attention. Maybe you will send me questions. Yes, have fun time and see you.